Hello everybody, I'm your host Richie Cunningham, and today we're going to talk about the fuel pump relay in this 98 Chevy pickup. The fuel pumps in these trucks, well, they're inside the gas tank and they're really hard to get to. So the purpose of this video is to collect enough evidence to warrant going in here and replacing the fuel pump. Our testing is going to take place here under the hood. More specifically, under this fuse relay center cover. So I'm just going to carefully press down on this tab and press down on the tab on the other side and remove the cover. This relay right here at the bottom left corner is our fuel pump relay, and this is where our testing is going to take place. What I want to do now is I want to reach back here, and at the fuel rail there's a little tiny valve. I just removed this little cap from there, and that's going to give me a great place to hook my fuel pressure gauge up. Oh, come on, you doozy. When we're testing these relay sockets, we really can't shove this DVOM lead into one of these pins right here. If we shoved our DVOM lead down into one of these sockets, what would happen is it would spread apart and we wouldn't have good contact on the fingers of this relay. So I'm going to be using this little jumper pin, and as you can see, it's basically the same size as one of the fingers from the relay, so we don't risk damaging anything. The last thing we want to do is make more problems for ourselves. That would be bogus. So we're going to go right down the line here. Our first test is going to be pin number 86, which is our bottom left terminal. We'll go ahead and insert this little jumper down in there. I'm going to connect one lead of my DVOM up to the positive battery terminal, and the other end of my DVOM up to the little jumper or tester, or whatever you would like to call that tool. As you can see, we're reading battery voltage here, which indicates that our ground is good. So for our 86 test, it's okay. We're now going to skip down to 87. We'll get back to 85 in a minute. So I'm going to take the little jumper lead and I'm going to move it to the bottom right terminal here of our relay socket. So I'm going to take one lead of my DVOM and I'm going to go to the negative battery terminal, and with my other lead I'm going to touch this pin right here. Uh-oh, we don't have voltage. That's because the key has to be on for this test. And we have pretty close to battery voltage, which is okay. We have a little bit of a voltage drop, but that's okay. Now we're going to go to pin 85. So I'm just going to move my jumper over into pin 85, connect my DVOM, and we also have battery voltage again with the key on. Now the most important test here, and really the reason for this video, is we're going to test pin 30, which is the output to the fuel pump. We're going to do something a little bit different first. So I'm going to take my jumper lead and I'm going to go ahead and insert it into pin 30 of the relay terminal. And I'm going to connect the red lead of my DVOM up to the positive battery terminal. And I'm going to take my black lead. I'm just going to go like that. So what we can see here is that we have a good ground here on this pin.
You just said it was battery plus, Richie.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary Beth. Let me try to break this down a little bit. Let's just pretend that this is our fuel pump right here, and this is our fuel pump relay, and this is pin 30. We have a straight shot all the way back to the fuel pump itself. It goes through the pump, and then it comes out and goes to ground. In 99% of these trucks, what I see is that there's an open circuit inside the fuel pump. If there's an open circuit in the fuel pump, I won't see a ground here. Again, the whole purpose of this video was collecting enough evidence to justify getting to the fuel pump. And right off the bat, this fuel pump appears to be good. But let's go ahead and do a quick test to see if we can test the fuel pump. So I have the ignition key on, and I guess in all fairness what I could have done is got another one of these little probes and spliced them together so I'd have two good ends. But I'm just going to work with this. But actually, your typical do-it-yourselfer probably won't even have something like this. So we're just going to take a small piece of wire, kind of like this, and what we're going to do is we're basically just going to jump 87 to 30, and we're going to see if our pressure goes up. So I've already got the key on for this test. So I'm going to go ahead and carefully just touch these two pins together and watch what happens to the gauge when I do this. Did you see it go up?
Yep.
Well, what happened there was we were able to bypass the fuel pump relay control circuits and just go ahead and do a direct test to the pump itself. And as you saw with the pressure gauge rising, we verified that the pump in fact does work. Now, what my buddy Mayo 3 sees in the shop all the time is that when he tries to do this test, he'll actually try to jump pin 30 with his power probe, but the fuel pressure gauge won't move. And that gives him enough reason to go back and get to the fuel pump and determine the needed repair. Again, the whole point here was to collect enough evidence to warrant getting to the fuel pump. A lot of my other fellow Richie Cunningham YouTube channels, they tell you that, oh, getting to the fuel pump's easy, it's not really a problem. But it can be a kind of a bear, especially when you just put 30 gallons of fuel into the gas tank. If each gallon of fuel weighs like 7 pounds or whatever, it's going to be a bear getting that tank down. So what we've learned here today is how we can test all of the circuits that make the fuel pump relay work. And again, we were using that to collect enough evidence to warrant getting to the fuel pump. I think I'll put a picture up of when I actually replaced the fuel pump in this truck. I used the Fonz's motorcycle jack to kind of jack the bed up a little bit. It gave me a little bit of working room to get to the fuel pump. Now there is another way to test this, but that involves using a high-end scan tool to control the fuel pump relay manually. But we didn't do any of that here because we try to keep it do-it-yourself here on this YouTube channel. So I hope you guys have found this information useful and you can use it to collect enough evidence to justify getting to the fuel pump in these CK pickup trucks. I really would like to thank you for watching my program today, and if you like what you see, I would ask you to subscribe to my program. You may also find me on Twitter and Google Plus and TV Land and Tumblr and Pinterest, and the Hallmark Channel, I think, also shows my show. What are the other ones that them fucking assholes are doing? Pinterest and Twitter and Facebook and Google Plus. And you can also find me at my own website, richiecunningham.com, where I started up a forum where other people can do all the work, but I'll make all the money from Google ads. Cash rules. I'm going to get 30s for my truck, so when I'm flossing, that doesn't even make sense.
Richie.
What's that?
I don't think I actually filmed anything yet.
You didn't film it?
No.
Give me that camera.
April Fool's motherfucker.
Mary Beth, I'm gonna whoop that ass when we get off camera. Hey, this is pretty cool. We really didn't have this kind of music back in the 70s when I was a kid.
Hey, Richie.
Yeah, Mary Beth.
Your show was in the 50s.
What do you mean?
It's not the 70s, it's the 50s.
No, Happy Days was from the 70s.
No, it's the 50s.
God damn it, Wikipedia. Oh. You know, fuel pumps break at the worst possible fucking times, you know what I'm saying? The wife got like 30 gallons of gas put in this shit at the gas station. He didn't even get out the parking lot and the fuel pump crapped out, you know what I mean? So I was like watching on YouTube and I see like a motherfucker, you know what I mean? Oh, it's easy putting a fuel pump in this, and he just conveniently puts it on a lift. He's got the transmission jack, and that's cool and everything, you know what I'm saying? But not really do it yourself. You know, had I known, what was that, like almost 3 years ago, had I known that there would be any kind of interest in what I do out here, you know, I definitely would have filmed that, because it was a bitch. You know, some people, I was reading some posts and it was like, oh, it's easy, just take the bolts out of the bed and just shove the bed back a little bit. Well, whether it was because this truck was in a wreck or something, I couldn't get the bed off of the truck. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you remember, me and your dad was out there wrestling that motherfucker, and I don't know if they welded the hitch to the bumper brackets or whatever, but it wasn't coming off. The best I could do was just get it to the point where I could kind of jack the bed up and then kind of shimmy on in there and work. But again, like I said in the video and shit, you know what I'm saying? That's what I did first, you know what I mean? Because I'm not just going to go and do all that shit without something that warrants going back and testing the fuel pump. You know, any Richie Cunningham motherfucker can go and show you how easy and fast and cool it is to bang out a fuel pump. But if it doesn't fix it, you know, where are you going to go? Actually, I don't know where you would go, because I researched a lot of stuff, and nobody really breaks it down like this, you know what I'm saying, where you can test it. You know, some people have a problem with these kind of videos where it just describes how stuff works, you know, but there's a point behind it. And this all started with me having to constantly repeat myself on the forum, you know what I mean? And going through the whole shebang time after time. What I noticed on GMT Nation is, you know, someone with a Trailblazer was like, look, my fuel pump isn't working, I jumped pins 2 and 4 or whatever it was on that truck, and I have fuel pressure. You know, that's what these videos are kind of about, you know what I mean? It's giving you a starting point, and it helps us, you know, the volunteer contributors, to, you know, help you out, you know what I mean? Because we're not starting and asking, you know, 500 questions just to get to this part. It's like, y'all already know this part, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to, well, which pin is missing voltage or ground, boom, you've already done it, you know what I mean? You know, it makes my day when I see posts like that where, you know, people have already shown that they're willing to try the diagnostic steps to try to fix it themselves, you know what I mean? So it's just great the way this all works out. And whether or not people are feeling it, 0 fucks are given, you know what I'm saying? Some people aren't feeling it, some people are. If people aren't feeling it, I don't give 2 fucks. Click that fucking X up there, get the fuck off my channel, you know what I'm saying? In this video, you're probably going to notice that my little tag down there has moved around throughout the video. And I'm going to tell you the story behind that. What happened was, I was trying to find a picture of the steering column wiring harness for a Trailblazer, and I was doing a Google image search for a Trailblazer wiring or something like that. And what I saw was content that I've posted having my name blacked out, and my videos and some of the pictures I've taken being hosted on other websites. None of you motherfuckers have permission to use my copyrighted material. So fuck you, you know what I'm saying? I guess what it's all going to come down to is I'm going to have to get my own little t-shirt made so everyone knows where this content came from, you know what I'm saying? So if you're watching this video and it's not hosted by YouTube, it doesn't matter who embeds the video into the site. If it's not YouTube, if there's no name down there, or up there, or down there, or up there, they stole the material. And fuck them motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? I dropped my cock. Dude, these pants are so tight they were showing all my business, okay? I don't know if you noticed on the schematic here, I actually had to spell out my name on here, because it's just kind of fucked up that some fucking losers have to go and steal content, you know what I'm saying?